Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to your lecture number 28 of your communication skills class again. I'm back again with another exciting episode of making you good speakers. As you know that we are in a process of making you good presenters. Since you know that in business communication, presenting yourself and presenting your product is really very important. As you know that you will be going into business and business requires that you go as a salesperson, you go as a marketing person, basically as a representative of your company. So once you are representing your company the way you represent your family, it is really very important that you understand that how you are going to know about all those things which are there in your company and how you are going to reflect them through your personality, as well as how you are going to deliver that product in front of your audiences. Now there could be a lot of audiences who are coming from different backgrounds. What you are supposed to make sure that you are supposed to present yourself in terms of your personality, as well as your product or your organization that you are presenting in front of the audiences. So there are two things that you are supposed to explain and represent in front of different kinds of the audiences, and this is really very important that you understand it how exactly you are going to do that. So before we actually begin with today's lecture, that's going to be that how to make a presentation, how to make a business presentation. It is really very important that we understand and we go through the theory that how we are going to see everything that is important for your business communication. So today we are going to basically talk about the process that you are supposed to go through for making a presentation. Either that's going to be a presentation that you are going to make for a product of your company, or you are presenting your company as a whole. So today's lecture is another episode, another exciting episode. I hope that you are going to like it a lot, and I hope that you are going to learn a lot from today's lecture. But before we actually begin with today's lecture, go and grab your registers and your pen, and I'll give you a quick recap of previous lecture, because it is very important that we relate the previous lecture to today's lecture, because you get to know each and everything and you get a quick recap that what we have done in our previous lecture. So I hope that you must have grabbed your registers and your pen. Let's begin with today's lecture with a recap of previous lecture. That was basically about the do's and don'ts of how you are supposed to make your presentation, what things you are supposed to include in your presentation, and which things you are supposed to exclude from your presentation. So just to give you a key recap of the do's, the things that you are supposed to do while making your presentation. The first thing that you are supposed to do is for making your presentation or to be inserted in your presentation is to be brief. Now you must remember, and I hope that you remember, that your presentation must be very brief. There should be 1/3 of the portion that should be empty on the slides. Now I'm particularly in the last lecture we've been talking about that how you're supposed to stick to the display of your presentation. We have thoroughly discussed that you are supposed to there should not be more than 8 bullets per line, and there should not be 8 points per page. So another formula that we have also discussed was 8/6 formula, that you remember, that in which we have thoroughly discussed that there should not be more than 8 words per line, and there should not be 6 lines per page. In other words, it means that you are supposed to insert only 6 bullets per page. The second thing that we have thoroughly discussed in the previous lecture was that you are supposed to use the appropriate fonts. Like for big fonts, that should be minimum 28 points, and clear in sans serif fonts, there should not be any serif fonts. Sans serif basically includes Gothic and Calibri and serif fonts, which don't basically have the twiddles and the edges at their end. If possible, test your slides. Now from the distance, you may check your slides from 2 feet distance. If you can read a slide, of course, every normal human being can read that. Run the slideshow and see if you can read your slides from the last row of the room where you would be where you will be presenting. Now there are presenters. Now the best idea for presenting something in front of the number of the audiences is to go at the back and present from there, since so that all the audiences, they have their eye on the slides that you have made for them, and you have an eye on the audiences from the back. use of the appropriate colors, the things that you are supposed to do, and other things, not too bright, high contrast, and they should be consistent throughout. The color scheme that you are using in your presentation should be consistent throughout. Like if you are using blue, that should go all in blue. There should be a proper contrast of the colors. If there is a light background, there should be darker text on it. If that's a dark background, there should be a lighter text on it. So this is how you basically divide or draw the contrasts for your presentation. Remember that what looks good on your monitor does not necessarily look good on the big screen. Since you must have watched the movies on the big screens, there are a lot of colors which actually grab the attention of the audiences. So if you see your slides on the bigger screen, they might look different as compared to you are looking at them from a close distance, or you have a very close look at them. Create contrast using font size and colors. We have also discussed that how you can use the different sizes of the fonts, or how you can use different colors to put emphasis on the words that are of importance and that you feel are possess an importance on your paper. So these are a few things that we have had a quick recap of what you are supposed to do. Now moving on to the don'ts, the things that you are not supposed to do. Put everything you present on the slide. Now putting every single text on the slide, the way you can see this slide is so full of text, like putting a lot of text on the slide can create problems for the reader. Remember that slides are just a visual aid. They are just kind of enhancing, or they are just kind of a substitute for whatever you are explaining to your audiences. They are your coordinators. You are supposed to look at the slides as a coordinator. If you overload them, the audiences will end up trying to read the slides and not paying attention to you. So you would be an extra thing. Let slide be a coordinator of yours. You should not be the coordinator for the slides. Let slides be the secondary thing as compared to you. So you are more important. Put the least text on the slide so that the audiences, they are going to see you and they are going to listen to you thoroughly. Using different colors, fonts on every single slide. Now we have also discussed this idea in the previous lecture, that how how the use of different colors, different fonts on every single slide can create problems for you. Using the bright background colors, that will strain your audience's eye. We have also seen examples for that in the previous lecture, that how strong or how the brighter or how the these kind of eye fluctuating contrasts or the background can take your attention towards them, and you forget about what's written on them. So sometimes too much bright contrast do not let you, or do not allow you, or do not make you read the text that is written on them. Using too many animation effects, overloading them, or bombarding your audiences with a lot of animations can lead to, or can give this impression of the show off. Of course, I know that you are not showing yourself off. Basically, you are talking about the company, or you are talking about the product of the company that has been especially designed for the audiences. So do not show off. Try to look decent, try to be decent, try to make your slides decent. Using animation only to make a point and not to make your presentation more interesting. Use content to do that. Your content should be appealing for the audiences, not those animations, not those colors, not those fonts which are going to grab the attention of the audiences. So this is what we have done in our previous lecture. Today's lecture is another exciting episode of that, how to make and how to deliver a presentation. Basically, today we are going to talk about the process that is involved in making, creating, presenting, and delivering the presentation. We will talk about that, how exactly you are supposed to pre-plan for your presentation before you actually plan it, how you are supposed to make your presentation, and how you are supposed to deliver your presentation. So this is what is going to be our today's task. Basically, we are going to talk about the process. Now let's see that what exactly is involved in this process. So I hope that you are ready with today's lecture. In the previous lecture, we have been also discussing that this process, this three-stage process that basically begins with the creation. We just had a quick recap of this process in the very first lecture. I guess that was lecture number 26, in which we had been talking about this process in a minute detail. Now we are talking about in more detail that how you can actually take care of creating this three-stage process, and how you can deliver your presentation, and how you can concentrate on each and every step to deliver a quality product. The first step is creation, the second one is preparation, and the third one is presentation. Now, starting up with the creation, you are creating something. Once you have created that, now you are preparing for how you are going to present it. This is going to be your second step. And at the third step, you are presenting it in front of the audiences for which, for the product that you have created and you have been preparing yourself for. So this is what we are going to discuss thoroughly now. The first stage is creation. As the word itself indicates, that you are kind of creating something new. You are kind of making out something. It tends to be overlooked by many, but it is really a crucial step in your process of making a presentation. There are people who do not look for that how they are supposed to create their presentation. Their main focus is how to actually deliver the presentation, and they worry more about it, how they should look like and how they are supposed to present their presentation. They are more concerned about that. Creation basically tends to find out that what exactly you are supposed to look into and what exactly you are supposed to put in your presentation for making it a quality presentation for your audiences. Now, there are a few steps that some of us totally forget about, but they are really very crucial, that make that kind of make a base for your presentation. If your base is not strong, of course you cannot deliver a good presentation. So this is a very good idea, or this is very important step in making, or this is stage number one of making your presentation a success. So keep in mind that once you are once you want to deliver, or once you are being asked to deliver a presentation, you should keep in mind that how you are going to go about that. So if the roots of the tree are not strong, of course the tree will not pop out anything. Of course there shall not be, or there will not be any fruit, any sweet fruit that is going to be get a life on that very tree. So roots are supposed to be very, very strong. That should not be damaged with any kind of a storm or any kind of rain. So this is what do you call creation. So for creating something, there are a few things that you are supposed to keep in mind. The first thing that you are supposed to keep in mind is selecting a topic. Now, if you are being assigned a topic by your supervisor or by your teacher, that's a separate thing. But if you are being asked that you are supposed to deliver a presentation on so and so product, now for naming that product, or for if that's just a mobile phone, or if that's just a pen, you're supposed to select a suitable topic or a suitable title, or an eye-catching title for that very product that can appeal to the audiences, and they become more interested in your presentation. So whenever and wherever the people are going to get or hear that topic, they would be interested in listening to that what exactly is going on. So selecting a topic for your presentation is number one thing that is really very important for your business scenario. Now, setting clear objectives and specific goals. Now, objectives and goals are basically one thing. They should be specified and they should be clear at the same time. Now, you have specific goals and you have clear objectives, that where do you want to take your presentation to. Remember, we had been talking about this FLIGHT, flight mode. Now this flight mode has something to do with, like, if this is your plane and you are flying it and taking it to the particular destination. Now this flight of your plane would tell you and would tell that how much you had been able to achieve those clear objectives and those specific goals. Only if your objectives are clear and your goals are specific, only then you can achieve your destination. Then the third thing is conducting a research. Now this is a kind of a research that you are making for your topic. Make sure that your objectives should be achieved by adding the relevant material in your presentation, by listening to the different kind of the researches that you have come across for your presentation, and by making it, by providing the most evidence for your presentation. Also, another thing, that is the audience analysis. That is really very important for your presentation. Make sure that you meet your audiences and you do the proper analysis of your audiences, that what kind of the background they're coming from. If that's going to be a business presentation and there are people who are coming from different organizations, try to see that what organizations they are coming from. Are they the organizations which are, or which already have a good linkage with your organization? What kind of the organizations they are coming from? Educational, kind of, telecommunication organizations, kind of multinational organizations. What kind of background they are coming from? What kind of the knowledge that they will have, and what kind of the background you would be asked to provide to them. This is how you analyze your audiences, through their background that they are coming from, through their educational background they're coming from. You look at their appearances and you judge that how much you are supposed to work on them and how much you are supposed to tell them. So this is how you do your audiences analysis. And then creating an outline for before you actually plan for preparing your presentation, you must create an outline through a survey, through maybe conducting a research. You must create an outline that which things you want to include in your presentation, and then later on you would decide the preferences and sequence that in which you are supposed to deliver your presentation. So this is your stage number 1, and so far we have discussed 5 steps. The 6 steps is, the 6th one is using the Microsoft PowerPoint. As you know that PowerPoint presentations are really very famous, and PowerPoint is one of the tools that is really very smart tool for delivering or for making your presentation. We will, in today's lecture, we will practice one session that is going to help you see that how you can make one good presentation on PowerPoint. Then selecting the Microsoft PowerPoint, inserting the content, that how you are supposed to insert the content in your PowerPoint presentation. Remember, we had been talking about that your heading should be 38 fonts, and your bullets should be 28 points or either 26 points. Using appropriate media or the medium of instruction, now that's up to you, that how you're supposed to choose that thing. That would totally would vary from person to person and from individual to individual. Prepare additional material in case, so this additional material would actually provide you for the backup plan. Now, if you have any backup plan for your presentation, since we are living in a country where there can be electricity crisis, or where there can be shortage of the things which are important or which you would need for making the presentation, so you are going to make sure that you are going to prepare the additional material in case you finish your material, or if you finish your presentation before time, so you have additional material that you can talk about later. Confirmation process, the last step of stage 1 is the confirmation process that you are supposed to take care of. Make sure that you have inserted each and everything, and you have had the proper checklist or a proper checking of each and every content that is to be added in your presentation. So now moving on to the next stage of the whole process of making a presentation, that is preparation. Now that you are done with creating or the creation of your presentation by selecting the topic, by gathering the relevant information, by suggesting or by making the goals and objectives for your presentation, by analyzing your audiences, by analyzing the presentation, by selecting the medium PowerPoint, by seeing that how you are supposed to deliver your presentation, by making the backup plan, or by gathering the extra or backup information for your presentation. The second step is preparation. For preparing your presentation, now that you have made your presentation based on the do's that you are supposed to do for making the presentation, make sure that you follow each one of them for making the slides, because slides are really very important for your presentation. The second step is preparation of the presentation. That is your stage number 2. That begins with the rehearsals. Now that you have your presentations ready, like something baked or something cooked in front of you, now see that how you are going to eat it up. Now for eating that thing up, you are supposed to see that how you are going to eat that in front of the audiences, in front of so many people. And for doing that, make sure that you rehearse it again and again. The way you are taught to paint, you keep on practicing it again and again. Same goes with the presentation. You are supposed to rehearse it again and again. And for the rehearsals, there is a very good option in the PowerPoint for counting down the time, that how much time, how much do you finish, like kind of enhancing your speaking skills or maybe your presentation skills. So what you can do is you can put your laptop on your front by looking at the slides, stand in front of the mirror, click on that very button of checking time check, and then you are going to start your presentation. Even if you don't have that version of PowerPoint in which they are giving the option of time check, what you can do is that you can have this set watch which can calculate your time for you, that in how much time you are going to finish your presentation. Stand in front of the mirror, see yourself, how do you look to your audiences, and start your presentation in that very dress in which you are supposed to present yourself in front of the audiences. So the dress of the occasion should be worn by you, or should be worn by you, by making sure that how you are going to present yourself in front of the number of the audiences. Sleep well before you actually present the next day. The night before, you are supposed to sleep well. Dress for the occasion. Dress yourself for the occasion, and make sure that guys must wear 3-piece and girls must be look decent whatever they wear. Arrive early on the presentation spot wherever you are supposed to present. Make sure that you arrive at least 20 minutes early at that very spot, so that you can see the seating arrangement. You can meet and greet people, as you have been also discussing in the previous lectures, that how is it really very important to know your audience, to build your rapport. So this is what you call preparation of your presentation. The third stage is presenting effectively. Now third stage is presentation, or how you're supposed to present yourself and your presentation or your slides in front of the audiences. At the beginning of the presentation, make sure that you introduce yourself, the title of the presentation, and the background if that is necessary. Now that you have analyzed your audiences, the kind of the background they are coming from, so make sure that you understand their background. By understanding their background, you kind of provide them with the background if you feel that they should know about the background of the things that you are going to talk about. Setting the theme, there should be a proper theme involving the audiences. We have also discussed that how by telling a story, by asking question, by letting your audiences ponder over something, you can involve them, or you can get their attention towards your topic. Explain the ground rules if you have any. If you want them to question you during the presentation, or if you don't want them to question you during the presentation, or just leave the question answer session for the end. Specify the agenda in the outline in the beginning, so that in the beginning of the presentation they get to know that what your presentation carries, how many points or what kind of the things that you are going to talk about in your presentation. It would make your audiences more comfortable for the time they are going to sit and listen to you for your presentation. Use the PowerPoint slides as a guide. Now another thing that you can do is to using the PowerPoint slides as a guide. Now if your PowerPoint slides, you are not going to put so much material on the slides that you are going to read from them. There should be a guide for you. There should only be bullets there that you are going to define in your own words, that you are going to elaborate in front of the audiences. If you are going to write down the complete text, that is going to be a very wrong idea, because your audiences, they would start reading from the text instead of listening to you. So if you want your audiences to listen to you well, you must make sure that you are going to only brief them, only put the least material on the slide, so that you have the room for elaborating them for your audiences. Involve your audiences, just give them a question to ponder over, ask them a question, or maybe you can, make them think about something that has happened. Make them daydream, or maybe you can tell them a story, or maybe you can tell them something that may ponder over. Now the next thing that you are supposed to take care of is starting your presentation or on time. Now on time means that you are supposed to start your presentation on time. If you are supposed to begin your presentation at 12, it means that you are supposed to begin at 12. No 12:15, no 12:10, or no 12:05. Make sure that you start at time, no matter the audiences are there or not. You are not going to wait, because you won't be getting extra time at the end. Have confidence in yourself as well as the material that you are presenting, because if you are going to be confident about the material, it would really convey the idea, or it would really convey this message to the audiences that you know everything about your topic. Look at people. Your eye contact should be really very strong. Do not stare at them, but look at them. Look at them with confidence. Look at them with clarity. Look at them with something that provides them ease. Do not stare at them. That would make them really very uncomfortable, and they would not be interested in your presentation. Rather, they would want to leave the room. So these are the few things that you are supposed to take care of for presenting effectively. The next thing that you are supposed to see is the body movements or the gestures. Your body movements should be comfortable. They should not be reluctant, or they should not be hesitant. If you are comfortable presenting in front of the audiences, of course the audiences would also be interested in listening to you. Your voice should be effective, and your pitch and your tone should be effective. There should be a proper intonation, proper stress on the words that you want to highlight, and proper pitch of your voice that should be moving in. Poise, your standing or sitting posture, whatever poise you are choosing for your presentation should be the comfortable one. Handling the questions of your audiences. If you have told them the ground rules that they are supposed to ask you the questions by the end of the presentation, make sure that you answer them well. Tell them to refer to the slide number and keep their questions for the end. Keep on giving them the reminders that you would be finishing your presentation in this much time, so that they don't have to worry that how much time is left and how much you are supposed to speak more and stuff like that. Because sitting and listening to someone is not an easy job, even if that is really very interesting, because people they would be getting a lot of questions in their mind, so they would be hurrying towards the end, and they would be looking towards the end that the presentation must finish, and they can ask, or they can appreciate you, or they can applaud you with their greetings. So this is what you are supposed to do for making your presentation good. The 3 stages that we have defined thoroughly: creating, preparation, and presentation. Now let's see that how to create a PowerPoint presentation. Now we had been saying that PowerPoint is one of the tools that would help you see, or that's kind of a really very comfortable tool for making the presentations. So now let's see that how to make or how to create a PowerPoint presentation. So moving on to the first slide of how to actually create PowerPoint presentation. The number 1 rule is to minimize the number of slides. Now the lesser the slides are going to be, the more interesting they would be for your audiences. To maintain a clear message and to keep your audience attentive and interested, keep the number of the slides into your presentation to minimum. So if you want your audiences to be attentive and to be interested in the presentation, make sure that you have the possible minimum number of the presentation slides, and the more you would focus on the clear message of your presentation, of course that would help you make the slide numbers to the minimum of your presentation. So the number 1 rule of how to create PowerPoint presentation is to minimize the number of the slides of your presentation. The second thing that you are supposed to keep in mind is to choose a font style that your audiences can read from the distance. Remember, for the font style we had been discussing earlier that sans serif fonts like Calibri, Gothic, Arial, Veranda, all of these fonts, they are readable even from the distances. Choose the right font style such as Arial that helps to get your message across. Arial is another type of the sans serif fonts. Avoid narrow fonts such as Arial Narrow, and avoid fonts that includes fancy edges such as Times New Roman. So the fonts with the twiddles, with the edges, with the fancy edges, let's say, should be avoided. The serif fonts basically should be avoided in your presentation. Try to look for those fonts like Arial, Calibri, which do not provide these edges, twiddles, or which are not really very complicated or narrow for your presentation. So two things that you are supposed to keep in mind: the minimum slide numbers, and the second one is font style. Keep your text simple by using bullet points or short sentences. So you can keep your text simple by the limited number of the bullets and the shorter sentences. Use bullets or short sentences and try to keep each to one line, that is without text wrapping. Now if you see this slide, this is overlapped. This is kind of, hijacked with a lot of text. That is bombarded with a lot of text on it. So you are supposed to, insert less text on the slide as to make sure that the reader, they can read and they can, listen to you carefully. They can read quickly and then they can listen to you with concentration that what exactly you have to talk about. You want your audience to listen to you present your information rather than read the screen. So this is what is my point basically, is that you basically are standing there to make your audiences listen to you rather than reading from the slide. Now I have made this slide intentionally bombarded with a lot of text because I wanted you to see that how would it look like if you have made a lot of text overlapping each other, and how difficult that would be for your audiences to understand what exactly is going on. Some projectors crop slides at the edges, so long sentences may be cropped. So some projectors do not, reflect or do not portray or do not, their lens is kind of, small enough to project the whole slide in front of the screen. So sometimes it crops, like if you see on the screen, I am cutting the long sentences off. Like if the edges are short, they would crop down or they would cut down the slides from both ends. That would not help you read the whole sentences from the both ends. So if the whole sentences are not visible to you, sometimes you may panic in front of the audiences that where my text has gone. You can remove articles such as a and the to help reduce the word count on the line. So articles may also be removed from the slides. Bullets basically do not require any kind of grammatical conversation, so a and the kind of articles can be removed to make your bullets smaller. The fourth point is using art to help convey your message. Now graphics, art means the graphics or the visual aids to help tell your story. Like for example, if you are presenting your product, make sure that you have a picture of your product to be displayed in front of the audiences, not that you are, in case you don't have the model of the thing that you are showing to them. Sometimes even if you have a model, maybe that's a very small mobile phone that cannot be displayed to everyone. The enlarged view of that very product can be displayed on the multimedia slide so that people can see it and you can elaborate each and every component in the slide on your own. Don't overwhelm your audience by adding too many graphics to the slide. However, so you are supposed to also see that do not put a lot of pictures on every slide, because that can create problems for your audiences to find out the accurate picture, or they would just keep on looking at the pictures rather than sometimes listening to you, or maybe sometimes reading from the slides. So the use of these graphics into your presentation is also really very important, and that should also be taken care of with great care. Make labels for charts and graphs understandable. So label any kind of the picture, label any kind of the chart or graph on your paper so that you can elaborate it on your own. Use only enough text to make label elements in a chart or a graph that should be very comprehensible. So if that's going to be very, very understandable for your audiences, you see, if there is a picture and there is no labeling with that, or there is no tagging with that, you would never get to understand what this picture refers to, or of this occasion this picture was exactly taken in. So you are supposed to see that how you are going to, you know, make that very graphic understandable to anyone by labeling that. Okay, now moving on to the next point, that is make slide backgrounds subtle and keep them consistent. So in the beginning we have also discussed that if you are moving on with white color, lighter background with the brighter text, make sure that you go on with that thing throughout. If you are moving on with the lighter background, with the darker background with lighter text, make sure that you go on with it throughout. Choose an appealing, consistent template or theme that is not too eye-catching. So your contrast should not be really very strong. You don't want the background or design to detract from your message. So if you do not want to, you know, distract the attention of your audiences towards the background as compared to you want, or the design of the background, rather than, you know, conveying them the message of your presentation. So once you are choosing the background or the color scheme of your presentation, make sure that that is not bright enough or that is not in a very high contrast to distract the attention of your audiences. Use high contrast between background color and the text color. That's what really is the point. Themes automatically set the contrast between a light background with dark color text or the dark background with a light color text. As we have also seen the example of it in the our do's and don'ts presentation in our that very lecture, that how lighter background should have the darker text and how darker background should have the lighter text. So this is what you call the high contrast between background and the text color. Check the spelling and grammar. Make sure that you proofread your presentation. Once you are creating the presentation, make sure that you proofread your presentation. Check for the spelling and grammatical errors, because there can be some kind of spelling errors, that is spelling errors that you can make, because computer is a machine and that can, you know, accept the spellings that are being written by you. It's not a human being which is going to tell you that you have written these spellings wrong. So make sure that you keep on reading all those things time and again. To earn and maintain the respect of your audiences, always check the spelling and grammar in your presentation. If your audiences are going to find the wrong spellings or wrong grammar written in your presentation, they would be disappointed. So although English is not your first language, but you are going to make sure that you proofread your presentation to make it free of errors. Now let's move on to an interesting part of the presentation, that is how to make a PowerPoint presentation. This abbreviation PPT basically refers to PowerPoint presentation. Theme and template method for PC Office 2010. So we have Office 2010. Whatever you have, we can see the display that how basically PowerPoint slides look like and how basically you are supposed to make them. So I hope that you are ready. I'll show you just a few pictures of how you are supposed to, you know, make the PowerPoint presentations. About Microsoft PowerPoint, before we actually move on, this is really very important that you understand what exactly is Microsoft PowerPoint and how is it beneficial for you. That's a versatile presentation tool. It has got the variety in it. You can add so many designs and so many colors and so many ideas in your presentation through this very tool. That is predefined presentation formats. So you would define, or you would find the formats. There are so many formats available. So you can pick up one, and that is predefined. Everything is defined already, and you only need to, you know, insert the text in it. There are the varieties of layouts and views. There is a variety, there's a wide variety of the designs that you would find it. The ability to edit and modify, so you can modify them. It's not that they can be, you know, rewritten again and again. You can save them like the way you do that in the MS Office. It creates the text. That you can insert the you can create your text, or you can write down your text in the designs. There are charts, and you can also insert the charts and graphs and any graphics or any visuals if you want to. It incorporates objects like clip art, images, audios and videos. Everything can be run on it very easily. It creates special effects and slide transitions. So there can be the inbuilt animations in your slides if you want to check it out. So Microsoft PowerPoint is a really friendly tool for you for you to make a presentation, or for you to make a very good presentation. So let's try this friendly tool out. Now, first of all, once you are going to open PowerPoint, this kind of a display, as you can see a blank slide in front of you, this kind of a display will appear in front of you. You will see a blank screen with two boxes in the middle. These are the two boxes which are there in the middle of the screen. One of the boxes says click to add title. Now this is the font that is 40 points, and this is the font that is 26 points. This is your title, and other says click to add subtitle. So they would vary. It may be 28 or it may be 36. It can be 36, it can be 26. So that would vary from design to design. So you are supposed to follow the standard. Make sure that you insert it as it is being offered by the design, because design, now see the font, check out the font. This is written in sans serif. So the font style or the font color itself is also defined by the slide. So you don't have to worry about that. So once you are going to open the PowerPoint slides or PowerPoint presentation, the first page that would appear in front of you would look like this. Now on the tab at the upper left side of your screen, hit the file tab. Now you are supposed to hit, or you are supposed to click on the file tab here. This is kind of a view that would appear in front of you, where you can find so many other options. This is home, this is insert, this is design, this is transitions, animations, slideshow, preview, review, and there are so many other options that are there in your PowerPoint presentation. Now that you have clicked on the file button of presentation, on the vertical toolbar on your left, hit the new tab. Now you would click on the new tab button here. Okay, so once you have clicked on the new button, scenario will appear right in front of you that would look like this, that how to create a presentation using PowerPoint, a WikiHow guide. And you would click here on the new slide. If you wish to use template, click on the sample templates box. So you can click on the sample templates box and on the new slides, and it would appear in front of you. Click on the template you want to use depending on the purpose of your presentation. Select any background that appeals to you, any background that you find really is interesting, that should also be relevant to the presentation topic that you are presenting in front of the audiences. Okay, so the brighter that's going to be in the high contrast, that's going to be more acceptable by your audiences. If you wish to use a theme, click on the themes box in the new tab. So this is the themes box that you can tab in the new tab, and you would find out different kinds of themes for your presentation. Themes would allow you to select different color themes for your presentation. Click on the specific template or theme you want to work with from the list of choices. Like there would be a lot of designs available on your PowerPoint, so you can click on any one of them and of your choice, and you can choose it for your for making your presentation. Once your theme is loaded, click to add title and click to add subtitle boxes, and add the title and subtitle if necessary of your own presentation. So if you have selected this template, this kind of title box and this kind of subtitle box would appear right in front of you, so that you can fill them and you can make your presentation look more better. After deciding on a title, click on the new slide button in the slides tab up on the top. So once that you have decided on what kind of the design you are going to use, once you have worked on your first slide, click on the new slide, and a new slide will appear right in front of you. this is how the view would look like, and you would carry on, continue adding information and pictures as you see they fit in. So this is how you are supposed to create every new slide with every new idea that is there or to be presented in the whole presentation. So this is how your presentation would look like. Once you have finished your PowerPoint presentation, go to the file, save as, and save your file so that you can retrieve it later. So this is save as option, where you are going to click and name your presentation with the most possible name that is nearest to your title of the presentation. Maybe that can be the title of the presentation, and you can retrieve that, or you can find your presentation later in your computer again. When you want to view your presentation as a series of slides, click on the slideshow tab and then click on from beginning top left. So this is what you are going to do, slideshow here, and then you are going to start from the beginning. If you see, this is what I had been talking about earlier as well, this one that I have circled for you, rehearse timings. You can click on that and the computer would automatically start the timing of your presentation and record slideshow. You had been basically recorded for the presentation by standing in front of your laptop, and once you are done, click on the save button, and you would record, you can see your recorded slideshow presentation along with your voice. So that is really very interesting part of the PowerPoint presentation. That's just like a friend who had been recording your presentation with a mobile phone, and later on you can see that how do you look and what are the deficiencies and loopholes in your presentation. So that was all about how you can actually make the presentation. The third part is how to deliver the presentation. Now that you have created your presentation, you have made your presentation on the PowerPoint slides, and now let's see that how to actually deliver the presentation. For delivering the presentation, show up early and verify that your equipment works properly. So for delivering your presentation, make sure that you show up early at that very spot or at that very place where you are supposed to present in front of the audiences. Also check that all equipment is ready and you are aware of, or you understand that how to actually operate that equipment during the presentation. Don't assume that your presentation will be work fine on another computer, or your presentation would work fine on another computer, because sometimes the files do not match on from one computer to the other. So make sure that the windows, because since the windows or the function of the windows may vary from one computer to the other, so make sure that you find out that before time you find out that your file or your PowerPoint presentation is also or can also be opened on the other computer, or any hyperlinks that you have attached, any videos or any audios that you want your audiences to listen to, make sure that they also open on the other computer. Disk failure, software version mismatches, this is what I've been talking about. Lack of disk space, low memory, and many other factors can ruin a presentation. So make sure that you reach the presentation menu before time and check for all these things if they may occur and panic you at the moment of your presentation. If the computer that you plan to give your presentation on does not belong to you, make sure that it has an adequate disk space so that you don't have to present from a CD. So this is how you can check for how you are supposed to deliver your presentation. Verify that the projector's resolution is the same as computer on which you created your presentation, because if that's not the same as you had been talking about, that it may crop your presentation from the sides and the sentences may go unfinished. If the resolutions do not match, your slides may be cropped and other display problems can occur during the presentation. So you are going to stick to all these problems and also address them properly during your presentation, so that you don't have to panic for your presentation at that very time. turn your screen save off. So you are supposed to turn your screen saver off. Keep your audiences focused on the content of your presentation, because screen savers, once they appear, they may occur or there may appear some kind of bubbles. Everyone has got different kinds of the screen savers. Sometimes the screen goes black and there are a lot of lines, so you must be aware of that. So make sure that you turn your screen saver off in front of the audiences, because during the presentation, once you are talking to your audiences, you get so much involved that you forget about these screensavers on your laptop. So try to switch them off or turn them off before you actually start your presentation. The next point is check all colors on a projection screen before giving the actual presentation. So check that all colors look good on the projection screen for your audiences. The colors may project differently than what appears on your monitor. So the colors may be projected differently than whatever is appearing on your computer or on your monitor. Ask your audiences to hold questions until the end, because if they are going to disturb you or if they are going to ask you the questions during the presentation, that can divert your attention. Questions are an excellent indicator that people are engaged by your subject matter and presentation skills. But if you save questions until the end of the presentation, you will get through your material uninterrupted. Also, early questions are often answered by in showing slides and commentary. So you are not going to do that, and sometimes ask your audiences to hold their questions for the end. Avoid moving the pointer unconsciously. People, they have got this pointer in their hand, they keep on moving it because it has got the laser light, so it may go towards the audiences. They make it, or they can get annoyed. When you are not using the pointer, remove your hand from the mouse. This keep to stop you from moving the pointer unconsciously, which can be distracting. So the pointer of the screen should be thoroughly avoided to be used during the presentation, because that can distract the attention of the audiences, because they would look, or they would start looking on that what your pointer is actually pointing at. Do not read the presentation. Practice the presentation so that you can speak from the bullets. The text should be a cue for the presenter rather than the full message for the audiences. That's what we have also discussed thoroughly in the previous slides as well. Stay on time. Your time management is really very important for your presentation. If you plan a certain amount of time for your presentation, do not go over. If there is no time limit, take less time rather than more to ensure that people stay engaged. So time management is really very important. Make sure that you provide an ample time to the audiences to ponder over. Make sure that you bring in the involving activities for your audiences. Also make sure that you leave an ample room of question answers for your audiences, so that you are not going to waste the time for the next presenter. Monitor your audience's behavior. Each time that you deliver a presentation, monitor your audience's behavior, whatever they are doing. If they are looking outside the window, if they are yawning, if they look disinterested, if they are playing on their mobile phones, it means that your presentation is not really very interesting. If you observe people focusing on your slides, the slides may contain too much data or be confusing or distracting in some other way. Use the information you learn each time to improve your future presentations. So try to make sure that you observe your audience's behavior, because that would help you, or that would let you improve your presentation which are upcoming in the future. So that almost brings us to the end of today's lecture. Before we actually finish today's lecture, let's practice making one presentation now. Once you are going to practice making one presentation on your own, make sure that you have a topic. Now what we can do is we can practice one now by opening the PowerPoint screen, and we can see that what exactly we are supposed to do for making a good presentation. So I hope that you are ready for making the presentation. Now let's practice making one now. So I hope that you are ready for making a good presentation. Now a screen view would look like this, your computer screen view. Now you are supposed to keep an eye on your cursor, this pointer. First of all, you are supposed to click on the start button. Here a bar would automatically appear in front of you. Now you are supposed to look for Microsoft Office PowerPoint 2007. Click on that and a screen would appear right in front of you and a view would look like this. That would say click to add title and click to add subtitle. That would look like a blank screen, whatever you are going to use for your presentation. You may click to add title, whatever your title of presentation is. Let's say it's communication skills, and the subtitle is during the communication skills we are listening or we are reading, or our main focus is speaking skills, right? So this is how you would have or you must make your first slide. Now for inserting the designs, click on the design button. And you may find a lot of different designs on the screen and you may pick up any one of them. Let's say we pick this one up for our presentation, and this is how the display would look like. Now again you would move or you would go back home and you would click on new slide and a new slide would appear right in front of you. Here you are supposed to click on the title. What are speaking skills? So this is the major title of this page. Speaking as a productive skill. So you are writing your ideas in bullets. Try to make sure that your bullets should not be more than 6 per slide. So this is how you are supposed to keep filling the ideas. Keep filling your bullets, keep writing. So this is how you're supposed to write down material for your slides. Again, click on the new slide button and you would find out another slide. You might get these kind of the options like inserting a table, inserting a chart, inserting a smart art graphic, inserting a picture from the file, inserting clip art, inserting media clip, any audio or video that you want your audiences to hear about. Now let's try one. Inserting a table. How many number of columns do you have? How many number of rows do you want to have? And then OK, and a table would appear right in front of you and you can draw a table. Same goes with, again, if you insert another slide. Same goes with the bars. You may select any bar, any pie chart, any area, any scattered kind of a view, any surface, stalk, donut, bubble, radar, anything that you want to insert into your presentation. And that would appear right there on your slide. So you can check for whatever you want to make. That would appear right on your slide. That would express the values if you are making any kind of a technical presentation. On the next slide, you may practice inserting any picture. Picture from the clip art, whatever is available. Go to My Collections if you have any, or any kind of media files. Click on the sample pictures if there is anyone that is available. So insert it here. Any kind of picture that you want to insert on your PowerPoint presentation, and then adjust it accordingly. And in the end, leave one slide for question answers. So this is how you must make a good presentation. If you want to insert any animations, you may click on any kind of the button. This one, this one. There is a variety and there are so many animation styles that you can see. And once you have chosen any animation style, make sure that you click on Apply to All. Now if you want to see the slideshow, you would say From Beginning, and a slideshow would appear right in front of you. You would keep on clicking onto the next slide, and with the animation help, your new slides would be appearing. That was all. and I hope that you must have enjoyed making a presentation, and I know that you are going to make one on your own. Welcome back. So I hope that you must have enjoyed making a good presentation on your own. I wish you a very good luck for making a good presentation. I hope that you must have understood this process of presentation, starting with creating the presentation, then preparing your presentation, and then finally presenting your presentation in front of the audiences. Here is a list of references from where the material was being collected for your information. I hope that you must have enjoyed today's lecture. I'll see you in the next class with another exciting or another interesting episode of presentation skills. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.